off by doing a brief review of the new protections that are in place. The Arrearage Management Plan is one of those protections. So I will let Jorge introduce himself, and then I will be back shortly.
Thank you so much, Gabriela. Hello, everybody. I hope you're having a wonderful day so far. My name is Jorge Rivera. I use the pronouns he, him, his. And I am coming to you all from previously occupied and stolen land from the Tongva people, now known as Duarte in the San Gabriel Valley in Southern California. And really happy to be here. I just want to start off by sharing some of the wins. You know, if you know Turn, you know that we are an organization that advocates for the consumers and really working hard and striving to ensure that folks are connected to utilities and have affordable access, as well as preventing the disconnections from very important services like light, electricity, and gas, and so forth. So I just started with Turn in October. So prior to my coming over to Turn, there was a lot of work that was done by my colleagues and the Turn team that really garnered a lot of wins and victories for the consumer. And I'm going to go over some of those with you right now. As you can see on the screen, now, because of things that were adopted back in June of 2020, utilities are required to reduce their electricity shutoffs by 47% by 2024. So they were given a 4-year window to work towards ensuring that they decrease the amount of shutoffs by 47%, which is huge. And 4 years, I guess I think it would have been nice to have it in a much shorter time window, but you know, it's something that without the advocacy of Turn and the Turn team and everybody that helped in the campaigns, we wouldn't have had. So it's definitely a great win, something to celebrate, and we all still need to strive to improve that as well. Other wins that were gained is that shutoffs were banned during extreme weather. So this is like anything above 100 degrees or below 32 degrees. During those times, shutoffs are banned by the utility companies. And when we're talking about the utility companies, we're talking about the really big investor-owned utilities, which include Southern California Edison, SoCal Gas, Pacific Gas and Electric, and San Diego Gas and Electric. So that's who we're referring to when we're referring to utilities. And the other shutoffs that have been banned are for customers who have signed up for a 12-month payment plan. And then I'll come back to that in just a little bit. And also for customers who have a LIHEAP pledge that is pending. And we covered the LIHEAP program in previous trainings. And I know we've gotten a lot of requests for the video recordings of these trainings. And just to let you all know that we are working on making these recordings available to everybody. And we'll definitely share them all out to everybody that has registered for any of the 4 trainings during this winter training series. Now I want to go back to this thing on the 12-month payment plan. What we won is that the utility companies, for folks that need help and need time in being able to pay back any past due bills or debt, that they are offered at minimum a 12-month payment plan. This does not mean that this is all they can offer, right? If we know that in certain circumstances, certain people may not be able to even afford the amount in a 12-month payment plan, so folks can advocate and negotiate for a much longer time period, 18 months, 24 months. There are no rules to the amount of time that can be negotiated for. So if you are working with a customer or a client of yours that needs that time period extended in order to make those payments more affordable, we definitely want you to advocate for more time, because we don't want folks to sign up for a payment plan that they're going to be stressed out making and then may not be able to fulfill those obligations once you make those arrangements. So if your client needs more time, advocate for more time. And just so that you know, when the payment plans are made, the utility companies cannot ask for more than 20% down payment on that payment plan. Okay, so if they're asking for more than that, they shouldn't be. Just to be sure to advocate for no more than 20%. Okay, and moving on, some of the other wins. So this is huge, and again, there's something that I learned, because I know when I was moving around, and those deposits that were requested by utility companies were always a huge hindrance to connecting utilities when I moved to a new place. Well, all those deposits have now been eliminated. So they shouldn't be asking for any deposits in order to connect services, which is a huge win, especially for folks that are low income or people that are transitioning from experiencing homelessness into a new unit, new housing unit, that they're not going to have to actually put down a deposit. And in the cases where utility services were disconnected, all reconnection fees have now been eliminated as well. Another thing that we found in the work that was being done to try to advocate for these wins is that we noticed that there were tenants that, like myself, that move into a new place, and you get that first bill and it's several $100s, and you just moved in there, and that's because the utility companies might have been charging you for the previous tenant's bill, right? So now there are new protections against requiring new, like, renters that are newly moved into a unit to pay the previous tenant's bill. And there's a process that that you can undergo to try to argue that that wasn't your bill, and they have to maintain the services connected throughout those proceedings, and they can't, like, disconnect you until they come to some sort of decision or resolution on that. So that's really huge, saving people lots of money. And online pledging for LIHEAP, as I mentioned earlier, and there's online medical baseline certification. So for folks that are applying for medical baseline, which is another program that we covered in previous trainings, we have won the ability for folks to be able to certify online. And then the program that we're going to be covering in more detail in this training is the Arrearage Management Plan, which is something, again, that was won due to the work of TURN and all the advocates and all the community participants. And another one that is sort of going to be coming online, and we don't really know when the start date for this program is called the Percentage of Income Payment Plan. And the gist of this program is that folks cannot be charged more than 2 to 4% of their income if they qualify and are eligible for this program. This is a pilot program, and what that means is that it's a program that's being put into place to see how it works and how it functions, and how much it can actually help people in financial distress or low income folks. And so we're really hoping to advocate for this pilot program, and going to be keeping our eyes on it to make sure that it is rolled out effectively and is a successful program, so that we can then take that information and those findings and try to put it into a permanent program that exists in all of the utility service providers. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to my colleague, Gabriel.
Thank you, Jorge. That was a great overview of some of the protections we won, and including with some folks here on the call who helped write letters and brought clients and stories to the California Public Utilities Commission. So this is definitely this was definitely a community win. We did this together. All right. I was getting ahead of myself earlier because I'm so excited to share with you all about the Arrearage Management Plan. So let's get into it. The utility companies just launched this new program at the end of January of this year. So it's brand new. Now, instead of kind of reading through this list of requirements, I'm going to kind of walk you through a little story. I'm hoping to keep this brief so that we have a significant amount of time for questions since this is a new program. Okay, so I work for Turn. Right when the pandemic hit, we had some issues. We actually had to stop some hires. We had to, I'm sure everyone had this experience where you were like, everything changed and there was all this uncertainty. And we all know someone who has lost a job. Okay, so let's say I lost my job in May, and I have been doing everything I can to keep my bills as low as possible, right? I went into my local community action partnership, and someone there who is working with me had been on a Turn training and told me, okay, you got to just keep paying whatever you can during the pandemic. If you can't pay anything, that's okay. You're not going to get shut off because there is a moratorium right now that won't end until the end of June. They've extended it from April to June of this year. So no one is supposed to be shut off during this moratorium. But when the moratorium ends, those bills are going to come due, right? So I've been trying to keep my bill as low as possible. I signed up for CARE because I lost my job. So now my household income is, meets the eligibility for the CARE program. My utility debt continues to grow every month because even though I am trying to pay a little bit every month, I have other bills, and so that debt is growing. And I'm really worried about the end of the moratorium. I finally landed a new job, okay, after 9 months, but I'm overwhelmed because I owe my utility company $1,200. And that's on top of all these other bills that I fell behind on over those last 9 months. So I call up my utility company. Let's say I call up Edison, and they tell me that I am eligible for their arrearage management plan. Well, what does that mean? First of all, let's say arrearage basically is debt, right? All the back bills, all the accumulated debt from the past, those are my arrearages. So this plan is going to help me deal with that debt. The AMP, as we call it, is a year-long program, 12-month program. I sign up for it, and for every month that I pay my bill on time and in full, my utility company is going to forgive 1/12 of what I owe them. So let's do the math here. I owe $1,200. So that means that for every bill I pay on time and in full, the utility company is going to forgive $100 of my debt every month that I make those payments. At the end of the 12 months, I'm completely debt free. Now I use $1,200 because of course that makes the math easy. But this is a program that is good for up to $8,000 of debt. Okay, so now let's go over some of those details. Only Care and FARA customers are eligible for the Arrearage Management Plan. And customers have to have been with their company, with their utility company, for at least 6 months. And they have to have made, during the whole time that they've been a customer, they have to have made at least one on-time payment during their time with the utility company. Customers must owe $500 or more to their utility company. The two exceptions to this are customers of Southern California Gas and PG&E customers who only receive gas from PG&E. Those customers, gas customers, must owe $250 or more. The AMP will forgive a maximum of $8,000 per customer per 12-month program. So let's say that I actually owed $12,000 instead of $1,200. I can get on the AMP program for 12 months and work off $8,000. And then at the end of that, for the additional $4,000, I can get on a 12-month payment plan for that amount of money in order to make sure that I don't get disconnected. Now, my utility debt has to be at least 90 days old, which means I have to be at least 3 months behind on my bills. If the customer is already on a payment plan, they can also switch to the AMP. So there's no problem like, oh, I already signed up for a payment plan. Is my utility company going to agree to put me on the AMP? No, the AMP is a higher priority than the payment plan. So it just requires that somebody, that a customer call up and say, I qualify for the Arrearage Management Plan. I'd like to sign up for that instead of my payment plan. I think maybe I'm already on the next slide, Jorge. Let me see. All right, so here's some more of the information. You can, yes, switch if you're on a payment plan. Let me see. Customers can enroll via telephone, and because we got the utility companies to fast track the ability for people to sign up, I'm not actually sure if they already have online signups, but those will be available eventually. So for now, I would recommend, since the program is so new, that customers call up their company and ask to talk to someone about the Arrearage Management Plan. Now, again, the plan will forgive 1/12 of the debt for each on-time payment, with the idea that after 12 months, all of that debt will be gone up to $8,000. Now, what happens if I am on AMP and I miss a payment? So I can miss up to 2 payments, but they can't be back to back, and I have to make up the payment the following month. So what does that mean? If I sign up for AMP today, and then, I make my bills on time for 3 months, I've had 3 months forgiven, and then in the 4th month, I'm struggling, I missed my payment, I had something else come up. As long as I make it up the next month, I can stay on the AMP. So let's say in June, I miss a payment. It's okay that I miss June as long as I don't miss July. So as long as it's not 2 months back to back, I can remain on the Arrearage Management Plan. So I can miss June and September, but I can't miss June and July. Okay. Now, there's no impact. So let's say I miss June. I lost my job again. I've met people who've lost 3 jobs in this year, right? People are really struggling. So let's say I lose my job again tomorrow and I've been on the program for 3 months. That $300 that's already been forgiven is gone. I don't have to worry about it. They're not going to put it back on my bill just because I wasn't able to stay and complete the full 12 months of the AMP. So there's no impact on the forgiven debt if a customer drops out early. Now, Now, if the customer gets LIHEAP assistance, it does have to be applied to monthly bills and not the debt. So let's say I fell off the program and then I managed to get another job. I'm getting back up on my feet. I am eligible for AMP again 12 months after I dropped out of the program. So whether I completed the full 12 months or I ended up having to drop out after 6 months, 12 months after my particular AMP ends, I am eligible again to sign up, assuming I'm still on care. So let's talk about that part of it. Let's say I got this new job. I'm now very, doing really well. I no longer qualify for AMP, but I already am registered for AMP. I will still get to complete my full 12 months of the AMP program, even if in the middle of the 12 months, I no longer qualify for care, okay? The only difference will be is that if, say, I complete it after 12 months and then I fall behind again, if I'm no longer eligible for care, I'm not eligible for AMP. So AMP, as it is currently, is only available to CARE and FARA customers, so customers on one of the 2 low-income programs. The other thing AMP customers should know is that they can request to be on a balanced payment plan or a levelized payment plan. All of the utilities offer this. It's basically a program where they average out based on your past usage. They average out what your bill is per year. And so that way your bill is always the same. So for example, one year I considered getting on one of these plans. My bill would have been $125 a month across the board. Now, if I use more or use less every 6 months, they recalculate it to make sure that, you're actually, you can't go crazy and use more energy and expect to pay the same amount, but they do try to make it so that your bill's not completely volatile, right? So we know that sometimes depending on the weather, you can pay a lot one month and then the next month it's really low. So customers can request to be put on one of these balanced payment plans if they think it will help them make their bill payments on time and in full. Okay, I think I just threw a lot of information at you. We will be sharing, if you haven't already received it from being part of our past trainings, you will receive a fact sheet in Spanish and in English that outlines all of the details of the Arrearage management plan. You can use this as a cheat sheet. You are also welcome to circulate it among people who you think would benefit from signing up for this program. So you can feel free to distribute it electronically via email to clients who could use this help, or to print it and distribute it on a resource table if you have such a thing at this moment. But yeah, so we encourage you to go ahead and use those tools as best you can to help us get the word out about this program. Let's see. Jorge, I'm going to pass it back to you for some closing thoughts before we open up here for Q&A, I think.
Sure. Thank you so much, Gabriela. So again, as I mentioned earlier, a lot of the work that we do at Turn is in coordination, in conjunction, and in partnership with you all. And so we're always constantly asking folks to get involved and to take action when necessary. And so we would really, if you haven't done so already, and if you're not already, please go to our website at turn.org and sign up for our email list or our online action alerts. There's turn.org/actions without the exclamation point. You can find some more information there as well. That's just for punctuation, not part of the web address. But please get involved. And if you haven't been following us on our social media pages, you can find us on Facebook and on Twitter. Well, I guess with that, just again, thank you so very much for being here with us today. Go out and share all this great information with everybody in the rest of the world. Let them know that these programs exist, and yeah, and continue to stay involved and in connection with us. Thank you so much to all of our interpreters. Thank you, Gabriela, and have a great rest of your week. Thank you so much.